And literally, I don't know if he's going to call in, but Elder Drazi is he's one of my mods. He's making a documentary about how much he likes me, but he's really upset about the stream. And he was saying like it's dangerous. It's a dangerous misinformation that you're spreading. It's literally the same as the trans people being like, you're killing trans people if you argue with me. It just feels like super similar. And I can't wait to I just can't wait to dig into this.
Is the idea that like because you're encouraging people to see this as like a personality issue or like a discipline issue and not like a mental disorder that needs to be medicated, that people won't seek out help for it, and because they won't seek out help for it, they're not going to get medicated, and if they're not medicated, they'll be depressed, and if they're depressed, they might end up killing themselves one day because their life falls apart.
Not even that. More like I think it's like they'll get in car crashes and stuff.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. Like
well,
my life.
I like my version.
Accidents. I'll burn my house down. Shit like that. If my ADHD isn't treated. I am in the waiting room. If you want to talk. Oh, Elder Drazi is here already. I'm gonna leave it to Baby. I think Baby's running the show. I'll leave it to Baby to decide who comes on. But I know Drazi's been very chomping at the bit to tear into me.
According to the American Psychiatric Association, it affects roughly 8% of children and 2% of adults, commonly believed to only affect boys because they are perceived
as rowdy and rambunctious.
One time for them praying on my downfall. 2 times for them bitches in the South Shore. 3 times for them days on the block getting chased by the cops like a motherfucking outlaw. 4 times for them days that were all bad. 5 times for the bitches who ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD just
No therapy does anything at all to change ADHD. Psychodynamic does not change anything about ADHD. Now, it might change how you see yourself. It might change
argument you're making where basically you're saying if therapy does improve the ADHD itself, then it was an ADHD. ADHD definitionally is that which cannot be improved by therapy.
I mean, I suppose, yeah. I mean,
okay.
It's sort of
okay. I just want to make that point that you're the way you define ADHD to this commenter. I just want to say the way Dr. Tuckman defines ADHD is that the answer to your question cannot be yes.
Okay, so what Mr. Girl did was a really smart rhetorical thing. If his objective is to like win a debate, he did a great thing. If his objective is to understand what ADHD is, he's doing himself and his audience a great disservice. Because what the guy said is that ADHD is not affected by therapy. Like you can't impact this neurological disorder with therapy. It's a physical thing. You have to do something to address it. That's not just talking, which isn't to dismiss the usefulness of therapy. I'm all about it. What he said, but I mean, what he said is true. Like schizophrenia, yeah, we're basically schizophrenics. No, so when he says that, it's like a good gotcha against the doctor if it's a debate, but that's not really what's happening. They're not having a debate. At least the doctor's not trying to have a debate. And it seems like Mr. Girl's trying to like win this debate, but he's the only one debating. What he's saying that like, yeah, I guess it's true. If you go to therapy and it's fixed, then it's not ADHD. Then yeah, that's probably fucking true. Because people don't usually go to therapy and say, I no longer have this physiological thing gone from my brain anymore. That's not usually how that works. Then we would say it was probably like some other issues that can be treated by therapy, then got it resolved. Okay, what's the fucking problem here? Like, I think that it was really weird for Mr. Girl to do this. And I'm just going to point out now, too, that Mr. Girl's audience talks about ADHD a lot. either they talk about the fact that they have been diagnosed with it, or they talk about they think that they have it, and when you have so many people in your audience that talk about it, it's a great thing to talk about. It's a great thing to talk about using the platform that you have to bring somebody on like Dr. Ari Tuckman. It's not a good idea to bring them on, say, I think that it's fake, give no disclaimer saying that if you have a doctor, listen to your doctor. He said, I'm not a doctor, but he didn't say, listen to your fucking doctor. He said, I'm not a doctor, with the context of every audience member knowing he has a bachelor's in psychology, and that he's went up against like Erudite, who has some sort of accreditation in psychology, that he goes after other people like Dr. K, which makes him feel like an authority in psychology, and that he's went after Brittany Simon because some of the things she does is like really fucky in the areas of psychology. So he very much presents himself as at least some kind of intelligent authority figure in the field of psychology. And when he pulls a stunt like this, he's just fucking his audience. And I love Mr. Girl. Everybody knows I love Mr. Girl. It's surprising that I'm not wearing a Mr. Girl shirt automatically when I start my stream. You know what? Before I go on to the next one, this is something that got brought up, and I don't know if it's in any of these. But the idea of using the diagnosis of ADHD as a crutch is a total fucking joke. When I was a kid, I certainly like said it here and there because I didn't really understand. When you're a kid and somebody tells you you have ADHD, that means fuck all to me. It means that maybe I can say it and people will be nicer to me. But as an adult, that's the last thing I ever want to say to anybody, because everybody fucking knows I have ADHD. You meet me, you know I have ADHD. When my psychiatrist met me for the first time, he said, well, why do you think that you have ADHD? And I said, well, I've been diagnosed with it before. I have a pretty good understanding of what it is. I've done a lot of like research into it to try to understand how my brain works better. And plus, everybody who meets me knows that I have ADHD very quickly after meeting me. It's not a fucking secret. And he laughed, and he gets it. He understood. It's really crazy to me to say like you don't believe in a thing, but like we all know somebody. As soon as you meet them, they're like, oh, this guy has ADHD. And it's not just that he's going to talk fast or he's going to talk too much or he's going to be looking around a lot. There's a whole ass vibe that comes with it. And some people really hate that vibe. That's fine. It's whatever. But like, we're pretty good at getting ADHD vibes from people. To where like if you think somebody does and you find out they don't, they're like, oh, wow, really? Like, have they been tested? Like, you just like immediately start questioning like, how does this person not have ADHD? I think that we're aware enough about the super in-your-face symptoms that it's something that we basically take for granted existing. It's wild. But the idea of using it as a crutch, it's so embarrassing. If I were to say like if my wife says like, hey, did you take the dogs out? I would never think of saying like, I didn't take the dogs out. It's my ADHD. Like I like, it makes me feel like puking just saying it. Like no, I didn't, because I have a disease and it makes me not be able to remember stuff. I'd rather just have her be upset with me. Yeah, I'd just rather have her think that I'm like shitty than like for me to like say like I thought about doing it and I sat there and I ran them out and they both went and I brought them back in, but it was all in my head. And while I was thinking about that, I started doing something else. And then it just sort of left my brain. That makes me feel like a fucking, it makes me feel like a freak. I don't know how else to put it. To explain like how it actually went down for me, I'd rather just say no and get the negative thing that she's going to think or feel about me because I just said no and said, I'm sorry, I forgot. Because sometimes that's what forgetting is when you have ADHD. It's not that you didn't think about the thing, it's that you thought about it the entire time and somehow you just weren't able to do it. And also it being a crutch, it only gets you so far. Like even if people felt more sorry for you when they find out that you have ADHD, like, oh, okay, I get it, I understand. That shit wears out super fucking fast because it doesn't just. It's not like, hey, just so you know, I have ADHD. I'm sometimes really forgetful. I misplace things all the time, and people are like, oh no, it's no big deal. Like my brother has ADHD. I get it. It's fine. When you're late, or you make your partner late for the 5th time in the first half of the month because you lost your fucking car keys, they don't give a shit what's wrong with your brain. It's you. You're wrong. You're fucked up and you're doing something bad. All that compassion goes right out the fucking window. So if you're using it as a crutch, then you're just expecting to get some extra credit. They're gonna take that crutch and beat you with it, like, really soon. Nobody who actually struggles with it wants to do that. Because you probably tried it when you were a kid, because it does just sound like a get out of jail free card, and that shit wore out like the second missing assignment. If you come home from the psychiatrist's office and your parents are like, oh no, something's wrong with our kid. All right, buddy, we're gonna work really hard and you're fine. We talk to the doctor, we know what to do. They don't know what the fuck to do because they didn't listen to the doctor. Even if they did, they're not gonna keep up with that shit. They just want you to just be better now that they know. Like, well, we know what's wrong with you. You should just be better because we heard the things. Or just because you're on the meds, you should automatically get better. People don't care. They don't care that's why it's happening.
Oh, here it is. It's Elder Drazi, everybody. You gonna turn your camera on?
Yeah, I just tested and it worked, so...
I
Well,
don't see it.
let's see here. It might boot me, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Hey, let's
so
go.
You're probably the most upset out of anybody about this stream, I think. About the ADHD.
I probably like you the most out of everybody that's upset, too.
Well, I think you also secretly hate me, but that's a
I don't.
I think you do.
Yeah. Yeah, we should get into that too, but
Sure.
today is not the day for that.
No.
Let me,
I don't know
let
why
me drag you. Let me drag you down so I'm looking at you. I didn't do my virtual camera, so I just got my green screen blocking my house.
Sure.
Oh yeah. I gotta have well, you know what? I'm not moderating chat while I'm talking. Are we,
Oh yeah, you're a mod. You're also one of my mods.
Yeah, are we looking at chat during this conversation, Mr. Girl?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't moderate
100%.
chat. Okay.
All right. Well.
I'll keep doing my job then.
All right. What's up?
All right. So your video, I thought was gonna be pretty cool. You are, for most of the community, we think of you as a guy who has pretty good takes on psychology. You not only have made it known that you have a bachelor's degree in psychology, you've compared your credentials to like erudites and made sure that we knew that you were like above her in like official credentials.
Am I? I thought we're about the same.
Well, because you said she had an honorary, and like yours was like an actual bachelor's degree. So I thought you said that like yours is more legitimate, if I recall the stream correctly.
I don't remember. But anyway, I've lorded my credentials. I have psychologists in my family, and I've said their PhDs basically rubbed off on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, you know, when I heard you were doing a stream on ADHD, I was like, fucking sick. You got an expert on ADHD on here. And I even was like, hey, I asked my wife, said, hey, would you want to watch this with me? Because whenever I find something insightful about ADHD, I'm like, oh, that's a really good explanation. Maybe I wouldn't have come up with that. I try to share it with her because having a better understanding of it, I think, helps us both. And I was like, you want to watch this with me? And it was kind of a fucking like the opposite of what I thought it was going to be. It didn't really seem like you were interested in learning about ADHD as much as you were into debating him out of saying it's real. You were like in hardcore
well, that's
debate
how I
mode.
learned. That's how I learn, is by telling people that what they think isn't real.
Okay, but like
that's part of my process.
Yeah, I get that. Sure. I guess the thing that was like really weird about that part to me was that instead of trying to understand if he misspoke or something, you tried like holding him to like weird points, like that was just like rhetoric. You're like, well, you said it was like this. And like, no, you fucking said like what is that? That's not trying to get a better understanding. That's trying to fucking dunk on this expert.
Is this a real question, or are you trying to dunk on me?
No, I want to know what was up with that, because that's not how I
Well,
imagine
like-
you talking
okay,
to an
so
expert. You've talked to other
trans-
experts, and it seems like you're trying to learn.
Trans people.
Uh-huh.
It's the same thing where you ask them what does it mean to be transgender? They start contradicting themselves because there's no answer. They don't really know. You say what is a woman? They don't know the answer. That's why that's why I named the movie that, because there's no answer. They start talking in circles. Eventually they start contradicting themselves, and you're like, wait, but I thought you said this, and they say, oh no, you're dunking on me. So I just wanted. I think what I said at first was like, I think ADHD isn't like a real thing the way like brain cancer is a real thing. Like you can't really define the edges of what you're talking about. It's almost like a religion. It just seems like a mess. And like, so I'm fine with it being used like that way as a messy conceptual thing, a religion kind of group, a statistical grouping diagnosis. That's fine. I think a lot of personality disorders are like that, and a lot of psychological diagnoses are like that, where you just say we take the 5% worst people or 10% worst people or whatever, and we slap the label on them. But when you but he kept saying like no, it's an actual thing. So then yeah, I'm going to start picking apart the way he's talking about it as an actual thing. Because if it were like if I had an oncologist, they were talking about cancer, I wouldn't be like, wait a second, you said no, what 5 minutes ago you said this other. That would never happen. They would just be talking about the thing, and I would be just listening because they would be talking about a thing that fucking exists.
So you don't think you'd be a little bit more charitable if you thought, like, you don't think you'd be a little more charitable and less like focused on rhetoric if you were talking to an oncologist?
No, but they wouldn't. But they wouldn't make those rhetorical mistakes. They wouldn't be tripping over themselves trying to explain what cancer is.
Okay.
They wouldn't.
I don't want to speak for the doctor.
They wouldn't contradict their own definition of what they're talking about 5 seconds after they say it. But when we talk about gender or ADHD or a lot of psychological things, I think that is what happened. Well, anyway, you asked me why I was doing it. It's not
Sure.
because I like hate him or something. It's because I want.
I'm not rejecting your answer.
Okay. Well. Okay.
I just disagree about what was happening there. I understand that that's what you think. That's fine. Okay, that part's. We're good on that part. So I agree that you don't think that it exists. That's fine. I don't think it's performative. I don't think you're just trying to piss people off.
Okay.
Although it did. I think that 80, maybe 95% of my problem with what you did would probably be, I'd feel a lot better about it if you did just say, I don't think anybody should stop taking their meds without talking to their doctor. And
what if somebody should
if any
stop
of the
taking
stuff,
their meds? Wait. What if somebody should
without
stop
talking to their doctor?
What if somebody should stop taking their meds without talking to their doctor?
I don't think that you should ever stop taking your medicine without talking to your doctor, unless you have.
What if your
I don't know.
What if your doctor is evil or wrong?
Then I think you should talk to another doctor before you stop taking your medicine and say, hey, I think that my doctor's evil and wrong. Here's what's been going on. Here's my experience on this medicine. Do you think I should stop taking it? That's what I think you should do.
Well, they're gonna just say, yeah. I guess my point is I don't want to give any medical advice at all because I'm not a doctor. I can't give any medical advice. But like you're trying to get me to give medical advice that's like safe sounding, but I don't want to give any medical advice because I can think of a hypothetical where somebody follows my medical advice and then gets hurt.
I don't think that's medical advice. I think that's telling people that you're not giving medical advice and where you should be taking it from.
Don't stop taking your medication is medical advice.
No. Without talking to your doctor.
That's also
that is
medical
telling
advice.
People where they should be getting their medical advice from.
Yes. Okay. Well, you should get medical advice from your doctor because I'm not a doctor.
Thank you. I really.
Absolutely. But you're telling me to give medical advice while saying that, which is a little confusing for me. So I understand you think
it could have been a disclaimer on the screen. Or
that
something.
is still
just
medical
like what you did
advice.
is fine.
People know that I wrote that. If there's a disclaimer on the screen, it's still medical advice. Keep taking your medication and talk to your doctor is medical advice. I don't want to give that advice to anybody.
I think there's... All right, I understand maybe you have some weird feelings about that, but what you did just say reduced the tumor in my brain that was put there by that stream by like 70%. I think that's really important because, you know...
I'm not a doctor and I'm not giving medical advice?
No, you did say that you should get your medical advice from your doctor, which is in the context of this conversation about as good as I can get out of you, into saying that you shouldn't take the advice from Mr. Girl.
I haven't told anybody to stop taking their medication. So what you're really trying to say is, you're trying to say...
Okay, yeah, I know. You did the Jordan Peterson thing.
No. You're trying to say... don't stop taking medication without medical advice, which is medical advice. And then you're smuggling that into me saying you should get medical advice from a doctor. I don't know what anybody should do.
Sure.
It's the same thing I say when people call in or DM me. They're like, "I'm trans. Do you think I should stop taking my hormones?"
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I don't know.
Okay.
You can see me saying I don't really think anybody should take hormones. But do I think you should stop taking your hormones? That's a different question. I don't fucking know you. I don't know.
That's good. I like that.
Okay.
I like that messaging a lot.
So I think
suits me.
I think Adderall is overprescribed.
It might be. That may very well be the case. I don't have any statistics to show me that, but
I see the bullshit. I would never take it.
Uh-huh.
I would rather cut my pinky off with an axe.
Jesus Christ.
Than start taking Adderall.
All right. Well, I took Adderall twice today as prescribed by my doctor.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure you did.
I'm going to take it one more time later today as prescribed by my doctor.
Good. Good for you.
Because that's what my doctor told me to do. And I said, yeah, sure. Okay. Now I want to I want to get into a couple of the other things that I really didn't like. I really don't I don't know how I'm going to have to think about later about how I feel about the interaction we just had where I said it was soothing, because I'm a little confused about exactly how you said it and what you meant. But I'll have to think about that when I'm not.
It's the same thing as the trans. It's the same thing as a trans. To me, this is the same thing as when trans people call and they're like, "My life would have been shit if I didn't transition." So what do you say to that, Mr. Girl? And I'm like, well, I still have my belief that I think that people are transitioning to cope with the bad ways that society treats boys and girls, especially young girls, seem to be transitioning at a really high rate. And I think it's because we don't treat women that well in our society. But then if a young girl calls in and she's like, wait, so does that mean I shouldn't transition? And it's like, I don't care. No, I don't know. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the individual. So I just feel like every single person.
I'd imagine you saying, I'm not going to answer that. That's how I imagine in my head from like watching everything you've ever made at least once. I would imagine you say, I'm not going to answer that, or saying, I don't know. That makes sense to me. That's fine. So
I do know, but I'm not going to tell you. That's what I'll say. Okay, go ahead.
So I got to say too, when I first watched it and like right afterwards, I was really upset. And my first thought in my head was, what if there's people who are like me, who didn't have medicine, and they would have ended up getting medicine, but Mr. Girl persuaded them based on their understanding of Mr. Girl's credentials and the way that he's just presented this. He prevents them from getting on medication that could make their life significantly better. And I stopped and told myself that might not be based out in reality. Maybe nobody would, but I've had people contact me and write me huge paragraphs talking to me about their experiences with ADHD and how hard it was. And some of them have told me like, yeah, it is making it a lot harder for me to decide whether I'm going to go see somebody about this. And that freaks me the fuck out, man. And I think you also have the wrong idea about ADHD. It doesn't affect everybody the same way.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
I think you're kind of implying that I've said that medication won't help your ADHD symptoms.
No, I think what I'm trying to say is that...
No, wait, stop for a second.
Yeah.
You're saying people think that people respect your opinion about psychology.
Yes, and they respect you.
But my opinion about the effect of medication on your life...
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying that because of what they're taking from what you're saying, you don't have to explicitly say something to your audience to have them draw that conclusion. So like when Jordan Peterson does that thing where he says, like, he talks a bunch of shit about women, and then he talks about the workplace,
Well,
and then he goes, whoa, I never said that women shouldn't be in these workforces. Like, you said everything would lead somebody to that conclusion.
No, actually, you're wrong, because that's the opposite of what's happening. I've said Adderall will make your life better in terms of your ADHD symptoms.
Yeah.
So I am in a complete agreement with the medical community about that. So I don't get why you're...
But you also said it's so fucking bad that I would rather get therapy from Dr. K than do it. And if anybody watches you, like I watch you, to me that sounds like I would rather fucking die than take Adderall.
Yeah, but that's
what it sounds like.
That's different from saying it doesn't work. I'm saying it works to do something that I don't want to do.
Right, but when people hear you say that, so like,
so
I'm going
it
to
makes
finish
them
what I'm saying,
not.
then
So
I'll say the next part.
Again,
it freaks them out.
I understand that, but I want you to differentiate between. I'm not telling you that Adderall won't fix the thing that you're getting it prescribed for.
Right.
I'm saying I don't want to be fixed. I don't want to be fixed. I want the world to come to me. Oh, you can't talk about the girls and cuties being hot. Yes, I can, and I will, and now I can.
Yes, this is the way I want you. This is how I want you to do it.
I'm changing the world, Drazi. I'm changing the world.
This is how I want you to talk about it.
One movie review at a time. And so
this is more clear.
You can't say the N-word in a rap song.
Watch me.
Yeah, I did. I can. I'm paving the way. And so there's a lot of times where I don't conform to a system, and I say, you know what? Let's try it. Let's see. Maybe we can do it. I refuse to conform, and sometimes it works out for me, and sometimes it really doesn't. And so it's just the same thing here. I don't want to be fixed.
It's also not all about conforming either.
It is.
That's. No, hang on. Hang on a minute.
Doobie, take this man down. Crush him.
No, hang on a minute, damn it.
Sick him, Doobie. Get him.
Let me say something about it. You can't just take my premise and not let me explain it, and then tell him to take me down over my premise. All right, so
I apologize.
Part of having ADHD isn't just about making me function better at my job, helping me be able to communicate my thoughts and feelings to my wife, which are big fucking deals to me. A lot of it is how I experience myself internally, how I'm able to think, how I'm able to operate and understand and process things. And it is very overwhelming and difficult for me inside. Like sometimes I can't do anything. Like the amount of anxiety and depression I get from not being able to organize my thoughts, from not being able to hear myself think. Because have you ever seen Everything Everywhere All at Once? You said you did, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to a friend of mine what it's like to think without medication. I said, have you ever seen that movie? And as soon as I said that, I was like, you know what? I bet you that movie is actually a metaphor for ADHD. It fits so well. And I looked it up, and it is. It's a great representation of it. The person's terrible at everything, and then they show like the powers they get, and it was also the only other person had it was their kid. It's expressing the the genetic
ADHD
aspect
makes
of
your
it.
life better. I get it. ADHD makes your life better. I said that. I agree with you.
ADHD makes my life garbage.
No, sorry, sorry. Adderall. Adderall improves the life of the user. You know what? You know what's funny? I don't even really believe that. Only in this narrow scope. I believe
only
Adderall.
People with ADHD, right?
No.
Oh.
I think Adderall improves ADHD symptoms. That's what I mean by makes your life better.
Yeah,
on the whole, I don't even really believe that. But I do believe it improves ADHD symptoms. So I agree. I believe in the short term it improves. But like, what if there's like some big like thing in your life that you haven't dealt with, or something you need to go to therapy for, and you're not going to therapy for it because you're convinced that it's just the wiring in your brain, and so it's a problem that you could fix by going to therapy, and then you wouldn't even need the medication, but you're not going to fix it.
You go to therapy.
Just okay, but you get what I'm saying.
Sure.
Not you specifically, but I'm saying medication could also prevent somebody from actually improving themselves in the same way, where
that's not.
Maybe you need to change stuff in your life to work better for you, but instead you're going to have a life that doesn't work for you, but it works for you with Adderall. And so then what I would say, it makes your life better. Like, no, maybe Adderall just makes your life worse. I don't know. But so for the purpose of this, I'm willing to say in the short term, at least, I believe it does make your life better. But I don't know if that's like it actually makes your life better. I don't know.
So I don't know what by metrics you'd go off of for that, but I can tell you this is how it happened for me, and I know it's resonated with a lot of people that I've talked to recently.
Okay,
I talked to you. I went to therapy. My therapist said,
"But I
can't help you with your ADHD."
I
know. Just hang on. I was trying to give you a picture.
But I don't want
part
it.
of the reason
it doesn't matter because the first part of my take is that it makes your life better. So you're going to tell me this long story about how it makes your life better, and it's like they're all the fucking same story. It's just like the trans people calling in and saying like, I could not take another step in my life without transitioning. I'm like, great, good for you. That doesn't fucking change my opinion though.
Yeah, Outer, if you don't mind me asking, like, when did you actually get diagnosed with this and start taking medication?
I had been diagnosed with ADHD when I was 5 years old. I was on medicine for a while and I got taken off of it because I didn't want to take it anymore. And then again, when I was a teenager and I said, okay, and they put me on medicine and I threw it in the yard of the church that I walked past every morning before I went to school because in my words, it made me feel sweaty. It gave me anxiety. I didn't have the words for it then. And then again, when I was 22, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And then 5 or 6 months ago, and I had the criteria that was given to me. Like they gave me, my psychiatrist had a long appointment with me, and he asked me a series of questions, and he talked to me for about 2 hours. And he said, based on the information given, there is an 83% or 87% likelihood that your symptoms are caused by ADHD. There is a 13% chance that it is caused by other mental illness problems. However, based on everything that we've talked about, I am pretty confident that you do in fact have ADHD. We're going to start you on a low dose and then figure out how you metabolize the medicine, figure out the dosage that works for you. This is a real doctor. It's not like one of these bullshit ADD medicine throwing things online that I think should be shut the fuck down.
Okay, so but you've been like interacting with this thing since you were 5 years old.
Yeah, and mostly resistant to it, yeah.
Sure. So do you think that like part of the reason you're so upset about this is because you've kind of like adopted it as part of your personality, and because you've lived your entire life in a society that has told you that the way that you're behaving, the way that you're acting, how distracted you are, et cetera, maybe how forgetful you are, is wrong, and that's not how you should be. And now that you're an adult, you can take this medication. This medication helps you fit into the role the society tells you you're supposed to be in. Now you're able to conform. Now you're able to get by, and you feel good. So Max is telling people that hey, actually, society should be adapting to you. Society, you shouldn't feel guilty about forgetting things or not learning the way that other kids learn, et cetera, et cetera. You should actually just be taught in a different way. Right. And maybe because it sounds like you didn't really have access to it. You had a lot of people really eager to prescribe you with things when you're a child. You're kind of taking this as like an attack on a piece of your identity, it sounds like. And I think that seems like why you're so upset about it.
I very much understand where you're coming from. And you don't have to believe me. Max doesn't have to believe me. But I think I'm really introspective. I take things really seriously before I consider what I want to do about them. And I really think about myself. I take notes. I write things down. I'm writing things down during this. I try to be really careful before I make any big decisions. Because if I'm not, bad things can happen, and I'm aware of that. They still can, but you get what I'm saying. So
yeah, I don't believe that you did this like impulsively. Like Max said, I believe you when you said that this genuinely helps your life, right? But,
yeah,
but I don't think Max is. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to counter the idea that when I say what I'm about to say, that I didn't really think about it, or maybe I just feel so. I absolutely consider what you're saying, but I don't feel bad when I hear these things because it's an attack on me. I don't want to feel attacked for getting treatment. I rejected having ADHD for almost all of my life. Or it's like, yeah, I have it, but whatever. That's not really that has nothing to do with this. I'm just me, okay? That's how I feel about it. That's still how I feel. I'm just me. I don't care about the diagnosis, but I have a hard time existing in my own head. I have a hard time communicating with other people and having them hear me and understand what I'm saying a lot of the time. And I got to a point where like, I finally have a good job and like all these things are in place and I can't fucking function right. I can't do any of the things that I want to do. And it's so hard. Like people don't understand that if you have a task to do, I had to mail something out and I looked at it and I'll just do it in my head
you got
instead.
ADHD. We get it. You got ADHD.
Yeah.
Let's pull it together, buddy.
Well, what I'm saying is that I finally said, okay, I understand. I know what the problem is. I
This
looked
is
into it. I
Crystal
don't
Light.
talk about it to people. What flavor?
Raspberry ice.
Fucking nice, dude. All right, I accept that. When I finally said, okay, I'm going to stop pretending like there's not a fucking issue. I'm gonna get
Okay,
meds.
Adderall made your life better. Do you have anything to say that's not under the umbrella of Adderall made my life better?
I do.
Okay,
But
can we
the
talk
point-
about
the
that?
point of-
Because I already concede that Adderall made your life better. I get it. Adderall made your life better. I hear you.
It freaks me out that people won't talk to their doctors because of what you said, regardless of your intentions. Like, you hold other streamers to a high standard when they have a platform and they say certain things that you know are going to be taken, even if they didn't say it like that, a certain way by their audience. And I don't know if you know this, but I watch the chat all the time.
Do you think
there
trans
is a
people?
lot-
Do you think a 14-year-old girl who thinks she's a boy should talk to her doctor about transitioning?
I think she should talk to her therapist first. I think that's the steps that you go through.
Okay, the therapist says, sure, yeah, you're a boy. Sounds like you're a boy.
Okay, I think I would want to talk to the if this is my child.
Yeah.
And for all you know, that may be uncannily on the nose for what I'm going through with my child.
Okay.
It may very well be the case. So you talk
Right.
to the therapist and see what the therapist says. And not just after one session. Give it some time, make sure they understand.
Sounds like somebody needs to watch more Mr. Girl. But okay, continue. So so you think that is the case, right? You think that if a little girl, well, a 14-year-old's not a little girl, medium girl, thinks that she's a boy, she should go to the doctor, and then maybe the doctor will give her hormones. The doctor's probably in this climate, they're gonna say, yeah, you're a boy. Here's some hormones. Now, my question is, I've spoken out about this a lot. I've said I think this is sexist, this is anti-woman, this is blah blah blah. I've said a bunch of shit. Are you holding me to the same standard? Like, do you think that I'm being medically irresponsible by saying that? Do you because trans people think of gender affirming care as vital, life-saving health care, much the same way that you're talking about Adderall. But when
I think that this is
if I challenge
not comparable.
Ah.
For two reasons, but also I did denounce your trans take. I have denounced your trans takes too.
That's different. I'm not asking about a binary denunciation. I'm asking you.
Sure.
Do you believe that I am medically irresponsible for challenging the gender narrative as I have, the same way I'm challenging the ADHD narrative? It's pretty much the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing I'm saying in both cases.
I don't know if you are, and the reason is because I think that if you give these ideas and opinions and somebody says, oh, I don't need to transition anymore, that may very well mean that they no longer feel dysphoric. If you don't feel dysphoric, maybe you don't need to transition then.
No.
Then maybe you need to re-talk to the people.
Clearly, it's the same thing I'm saying of just suffer. If you're 14 and you're watching this and you hate being a woman, that's because we hate you. Our society hates you. We're going to treat you horribly. We've already begun treating you horribly since birth, and it's just going to get worse, actually. The older you get, the worse it's going to be. And of course you don't want to be a girl. Why would you want to be a girl? It's totally understandable. And so and written into that message is not like so switch, and it's not exactly so not switch, but it's like I think if this is going to get better, if every 14-year-old girl just ditches growing into a woman, I don't think that's going to make things better for women. So you can decide if it's up to you if you want to be a super cool Mr. Girl super soldier. That's fine if you want to do that. But I don't hear you jumping up in arms being like, you're denying, you're giving people medical advice and you're destroying like their ability to get life-saving care. Like I think that
okay,
I think
I can
that
explain
social,
why that there's
social
a difference
commentators
here.
like me need to be able to talk about trends in medicine. I don't think it's irresponsible to talk about it generally. I think it's irresponsible to talk to a specific person and give them medical advice. Absolutely. I don't think it's irresponsible to say.
I think there are differences.
I think we should. I want to challenge this narrative.
Can you, Elder? Can you lay out what you think the consequences could be? So let's say one of these people that wrote to you, who seems unsure about whether or not they're going to take medication, listens to Max, and they choose to be Martin Luther King. Right? And they don't take the medication. What are the consequences that you're afraid of? You say this freaks you out.
Yeah, it freaks me out because I think that if you have, especially if you have severe ADHD like I do, that you don't know how much of your life is affected by it. A lot of times people with ADHD and people who don't have ADHD have even less understanding of what it's like to have it. But when you have it, you understand it does this, this, and this. But when your symptoms are alleviated, you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that it was fucking with me that hard in this category. Or I didn't realize that my ability to just have a normal conversation with somebody, or my ability to think, or this background noise that's always in my head. I had no idea that was, I just thought that was a shitty thing about me that had nothing to do with it. I think that if your doctor says you have this and this is the right treatment, I think you find out that there's a lot of things that get better that you didn't even expect to get better after seeking treatment for it.
Okay. I have to say a few things, and some of them are super chats.
Okay.
Well, first
also, I still really want to say the differences.
You can, but I want to talk for about 45 seconds first.
Go for it.
I wish Mr. Girl would, this is a normal chat. I wish Mr. Girl would stop giving these hypotheticals about why trans people want to transition. That is not generally our experience. We don't transition because of sexism and stuff. I'm not saying it's your experience. I'm saying that might be what's happening, even though that's not how you're experiencing it. Just the same way a student who gets bad grades is going to experience it as I'm less, I'm worse, I'm bad, I'm not good at this. But from an outside perspective, 100 years from now, we might look back at traditional school, I'm almost certain we will, look back at modern school and be like, oh, that was wrong. We fucked up. We shouldn't have been doing that to kids. So I'm just talking about adopting a different lens. It might be that the experience of wanting to transition for whatever reasons you feel like you're transitioning, that might not be your experience if people treated young boys and girls better with regards to their bodies. Donald Duck's dad says, I have a habit of disassociating. Is it dissociating or disassociating?
Disassociating.
Disassociating?
Yeah, disassociation.
You can't just say dissociating?
I don't believe. I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. You want me to Google it and do the...
Yeah, somebody look that up. As a child, I'd find an empty room so I could pace to and fro and imagine my own film or game. I did this for hours. I still do. This desire comes up and interrupts my regular life. I hear you.
Yeah, it is.
It's dissociating. It's disassociate. You can't say
the
dissociate.
Google did the pronunciation. Google didn't say it like that when I asked.
Well, I'm saying are they both words? Can you just diss?
Oh wait, there are two words. What the hell's the difference?
Come on, baby. Okay, Kyle Williams, $20.
Same thing, different vernacular.
Okay. I, like Drazi, was mad at first, Max, but I think this is exactly the same as your makeup take. We should all suffer now in order for society as a whole to get tired of it and change it. I get it now. It's naive, but on brand. Yeah, I think that I'm presenting this a little more carefully and more like just a lens as opposed to women should stop wearing makeup. I'm not saying like you should stop taking Adderall, but it's a similar lens. I think I'm looking through that lens, and I'm looking at women, and I'm saying, yeah, I do know what you should do. Okay, Donald Duck's dad was recklessly told I have ADHD by grad students. Nothing official. Tried Adderall once. It made my day better. Easy. Would help goals. It felt like that always. I'm sure it would, Mr. Duck. I'm sure it would. All right. Continue, Drazi. You said you want to talk about the difference between what I said. I think we agree on saying that. I'm saying the same thing to ADHDers and trans people, right? I'm basically saying the exact same thing.
What you're saying is that I don't believe you. Well, I don't believe the thing that you think you have is a thing like you think it is, and you're saying that I don't believe in the treatment. Is that what you're saying? You're saying?
No,
I don't believe you. I don't.
I'm sure plastic
Sir,
surgery.
you think the treatment is bad?
I think the treatment probably works for the thing you're trying to treat, but I think the way you conceptualize the whole problem is bad, specifically in a way that throws yourself under the bus.
Okay.
And I'm offering an alternate conception, not to replace yours, but to look. In addition, I feel bad about my body. I mean, it's the same thing that women went through, like in the 90s. Like, I feel bad about people calling me fat, and so I feel bad. I want to be thin. I want to be thin. I want to be thinny. But
Thinny.
also, maybe people shouldn't be calling me fat all the time. And
Sure.
and so now I think women have a kind of dual way to look at that, of like, I shouldn't be super fat, but also you shouldn't be shaming me.
Sure. I agree with that.
Okay. So I think
Now-
I'm saying the same thing to trans people and ADHD people.
Okay. I think the difference between your messaging here is that, for one, I look at your chat always because that's kind of my fucking job. I don't get paid much, but I got paid this shirt to do it, and I was happy to do it. I volunteered to do it. Your chat has a fuck ton of people who either have diagnosed and are on meds for ADHD, or people who think they have ADHD. It's a pretty big demographic. I watch them talk about it a lot. I don't know if you were aware of this, and that's why you
Wait a
decided
second.
to talk
You said
about it.
Wait, stop.
Yeah.
You're saying that
It's a
what
hot
I'm saying,
topic in
you're
the
saying
chat.
what I'm saying to trans people and ADHD people is not the same? I think we just went through it
no.
twice, and it is the same.
No, I'm saying the difference between like what's happening here.
That's fine, but do we agree that the thing I'm saying is the same?
Definitionally, sure.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think your audience is full of trans people. I don't think that you have a large amount of trans people who are eager to hear what you think and adopt it into their lifestyle either. I think that as soon as you start talking, they tune that shit right the fuck out and don't want to hear what you have to say on average, because there's what's the word, like appropriately a guard up over that kind of rhetoric. I think that your audience, that is a ton of people with ADHD in it, are going to be much more susceptible to that kind of messaging and take it and internalize it as a way of thinking like, oh, I shouldn't do anything about this because I'll be making the world less good. Like, if Mr. Grill said he'd rather see Dr. K than get the meds, like, fuck, I don't want to take the meds then. Like, even
Well, I
no
would
matter
also
how much
rather-
better it
I'd
makes my
also
life.
rather see Dr. Gay.
That was correct. Continue.
I would also rather see Dr. K than get my penis cut off.
I am. Come on. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So I don't want the trans treatment either. I would actually rather take Adderall than take cross-sex hormones.
Okay. Would you rather take Adderall than get your dick cut off?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we got dick cut off down here. Adderall, Pinky's up here. I think Pinky's like Dr. K's above Adderall, but below Pinky.
No, I would
yeah?
rather see Dr. K than cut my pinky off.
For something that was actually traumatic to you. Let him get in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like
okay.
my-
So we
I
got
like, I like my pinky.
penis, Adderall, Dr. K, Pinky. Got it. Okay. We have the tier list.
Okay, I have some super chats to respond to. I want you to organize
Okay.
what you're actually saying, because it feels like you're all over the place. No
Well,
offense
the stops
to-
stops don't help.
to-
But it's not your fault. It's just, sort of the nature of the beast.
Patrick Moriarty. Too many people take the COVID vaccine, and I would rather die than take it. Medical advice or no? It's a good point. I would say that's not medical advice, but it is definitely, I think, would fall under vaccine, anti-vaccine rhetoric, or maybe misinformation. But the vaccine is interesting in that it's the opposite of ADHD, because if you're a healthy person, most likely, especially if you're not going to get, like, well, I don't think I'm going to catch COVID because I'm very careful. So when I took the vaccine, that only really helps other people, I think. So it comes at risk to me, because there is some risk when you take a vaccine. minor risk, but we've agreed societally or medically that it's an acceptable risk. Everybody should take it. Yeah, a few people are going to have bad reactions or allergic reactions. Some might die, but basically it's going to save lives overall. So you take it for the good of society, especially older or vulnerable people. And yeah, I get what you're saying, and I guess the difference is that I'm right. I'm right about this. The vaccine is a study. Then you're just making a I can't talk. You're making a declarative statement about like a statistical thing. Like the vaccine either injures you with some percentage chance or it doesn't. But and then you can say there's microchips in it, and then you've lost your mind. This is challenging a thing that I'm like talking to experts about it, and like it's not a well fucking thought out construct. So I get the comparison you're making, but I just think I'm right. I'm just so sure that I'm right. This island Earth, I don't know if you touched on this before, but has there ever been the temptation to play games on stream? If not, that's totally fine. Love your content. Hope you're well. On August 20... Oh, no, sorry. September. On September 23rd, The Last of Us streamer brawl. So far,
I'd fuck you up in that game.
Okay, so far it's Adam from Your Movie Sucks, Chud Logic, and Doobie.
Wait, what?
And
I don't want to embarrass you in front of your audience, but sure.
You want what's your
Are you playing
screen
The
name?
Last of Us?
Yeah, we're playing The Last of Us on August 23rd.
Last time.
What?
Let's see. You should invite me. I'll have Jimmy train me and kick your ass, but it's not enough.
Okay, Drazi, you can join.
Okay.
You're a streamer
PlayStation?
now. It has to be PlayStation. It's only out for play. If you're asking that question, I fear for your
Oh,
future.
yeah. Look, man, there's a lot going on, okay? Yeah.
Okay, Doobie, what's your screen name?
I can't repeat it on stream. It's embarrassing.
Oh, is it a slur?
Okay,
I'm
let me
not,
put it this
okay,
way.
I feel like you guys think I just like spit out the N-word 24/7, and I do.
Okay. No, stop. Doobie, do you play Survivors or Supply Raid?
Supply Raid.
Oh, okay.
Wait, is it Supply Raid? I think it's Supply Raid.
The one where you respawn?
To be honest with you, I haven't played it in like a year and a half, 2 years, but I'm very good at it. That's where I was.
I was gonna say, if you play Survivors, we would run into each other.
Oh.
Because there's like the same people play every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can add me, Doobie, if you want.
Sure, I will.
Okay. My screen name's Mr. Girl.
Wait, so Mr. Drazi, so is there?
Oh, please call me out.
I don't really.
Go ahead.
Okay, and I'm not a.
Wait. There's one
Sure.
more. I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder. They gave me SSRIs. That elevated my anxiety and other symptoms I didn't think I had. Difference is that the doctors treated the meds as a temporary solution to solving with therapy. Yeah, that is different because Dr. Tuckman was saying that therapy doesn't help. Okay, thank you. Continue.
Yeah, well, so I'm not a content creator, not a streamer or YouTuber or anything like this, right? So I don't really, maybe I just don't understand what it's like to have an audience of people that is like listening to everything I say, and looking out for new videos and all this kind of shit. But if his personal like position, right, he just has like an issue with this diagnosis with the medication, and he just doesn't want to do it. Right? If him declaring that he doesn't want to do it is going to influence other people to maybe question their decision to take the medication, like is that your issue, that they just might agree with him, or maybe they're unsure, they're on the edge, and him saying that he's not going to do it is enough to get them not to do it, and this is like a big thing you're afraid of? Because it seems to me like if they're on the edge and they're not sure, maybe they shouldn't take it. Right?
I don't think they have
know
to be
the
on the
personal
edge.
situation, but if you think that Mr. Girl is saying, "Hey, I'm going to be Martin Luther King and not take the fucking pill," you think that's going to take someone from your position, right? Which is, this thing is definitely going to help my life. I need this thing, to not taking it.
I think that you don't have to be on the fence. The reason I went to therapy in the first place, the thing that pushed me to do it was talking to Mr. Girl. And I was the official, whoever said it there. Mr. Girl said it. I'm the first advice and confession success story. So yeah, I think that you don't necessarily have to be super on the fence. I think you can kind of be have a conviction about something and have it swayed by somebody who's charismatic, who has good ideas generally, and then puts out a stinker once in a while, and that one gets grouped in with the rest. I think that it's really easy for you to not question something that somebody says who you agree with the majority of the time, especially if you have a mental illness that makes it really hard for you to suss out your thoughts. I think that it makes you more susceptible to falling into those kinds of traps, which is why it's one of the reasons why I think it's not the same as the trans conversation, because people with ADHD are particularly vulnerable to listening to people that they have a large degree of respect for. You don't have a great ability to like weigh your thoughts very well. You just kind of like go with the thing that's the loudest a lot of the time. And when you watch somebody like Mr. Girl, who's based as fuck 95% of the time, oh yeah, based every single take. You just go like, yep. If you look at the things that like Destiny said, so that people try to emulate the things that he does, like when he treats women like shit and stuff, like in like a funny way, and they do it with this shit like, hey, that shit doesn't work. They're like, yeah, because you're fucking stupid. You don't know how to do it. But like they just go, oh yeah, I can do that, and you just don't think. The brain shuts off, and you just hear what's being said, and it scares me that that's going to happen when people might be missing out on a really, really important thing that could end up helping them a lot. Because like the first time I took my meds and the sound went away, I cried. Like I didn't know that I could think clearly like that at all. And like that was for me. That wasn't to make anybody respect me more or to be normal or to conform. I just like having my head not screaming at me all the time. And I have like chronic back pain. I can manage that without having to take
Are you
any
a
other
little concerned
meds?
that your advocacy here, what you just said, might encourage people who don't actually have ADHD and actually just need to work on other issues, might
Fuck 'em
encourage
up.
them
Fuck
to
him
rather than
up.
deal with those issues, medicate
Fuck him.
themselves.
Yes.
Because it seems like you're doing the same thing in the other direction.
No, I'm advocating for people to talk to their doctors and listen to what their doctor says.
But
That's
if
what
there's
I'm
an issue
advocating
with
for.
doctors overprescribing this medication.
I don't know if there is.
It's
Fuck 'em
extremely
up,
easy
dude.
to get.
I think
don't
that it's
know
easy
the
to go
web-
online and get them.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, I'm
so
not saying go online. I'm saying see an actual psychiatrist. Talk to a therapist. See what
if
your
the
therapist
actual
thinks, and then see a
psychiatrists are the ones
psychiatrist.
that are prescribing these things to children, and to all these people in college that go out and get Adderall because they need help or they want to get through their midterms or whatever the fuck, but they don't actually have ADHD. Right, so these things are being prescribed to people by the exact people you're telling them to go see, right? And it seems like there could be some people who maybe aren't even like, maybe they're just like on the edge. They feel like, hey, I'm kind of
All right.
forgetful. Go ahead.
We got to kick Drazi.
Okay.
You gotta catch
Can
it.
I respond to what Doobie said?
Barely.
And okay. So I'm saying that the way that I talk about this, and I say it in such a way that I'm really pushing on you to be responsible about it. It should be about getting better. It should be about seeking a way to fix the thing that's wrong with you. And I think if that's your aim, you're not going to go, hey, give me the fucking meds. You're going to talk to them about your issues, and you're going to say like, hey, how does this work? Could this work for me? And
right.
take notes when you start it and talk to your doctor and like do it the right fucking way. Not just like, hey, go get Adderall. It's the best thing ever. That's not been my messaging ever.
Goodbye.
Thanks for letting
Sure,
me
sounds like-
argue
Thank
with you,
you.
Mr. Girl.
Of
Nice
course.
to meet you, Doobie.
Thanks for calling.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, sir.
Dumb bitch.
Oh my God, Doobie.